Hi, YouTube. I hope you're doing well. Doug got a hold of Constantine's over in Russia for me. I hope you found my new channel. Um, I have a couple subs. I have one that I think subbed and then unsubbed. And I don't know, I think he's got some argument with me. I'm not sure. Because I was talking about jealousy, and I wasn't even talking about him, but I think he took it that way. But it's like, well, yeah, that's okay. Not everybody's going to understand where everybody else is coming from. So, well, cheers, everybody. A happy new week ahead to you, I hope. We have been having trouble with our pump, as I mentioned before. Now it seems to be, and hopefully that's all it is it's like a starter. It's called a capacitor. And Doug ordered one of those today, but hopefully that'll work and it won't be the whole pump that we have to take out, or God forbid the sand point again. We've had to do that. I've had to do that by myself before. Oh, that's a trip. A big time trip. I don't know another woman that's done that, but there could be. The world's full of people, so God knows. But I've never met anybody. Very few men have done that, let alone women pounding their own well. I've never met one yet, but like I say, could be. Could be. I know there's women pack their own water. That I do know. Whenever you have to produce your, well, not produce your own water because that's from God, but whenever we have to acquire means to get our own water in our lives, you cherish it all the more, you know. It's even been times that, we'll take a bath. We have taken a bath in the creek, our creek, and it's chilly. It's not quite nice like going in and turning on some warm water and um just having it available for us, when you actually have to work or pack water and boil it and get it hot so you can get yourself clean, or that's so we've been struggling with that lately, amongst other things, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. Um, I shared a video on my Facebook I can't share. I don't have a community on the Barbie Weiss channel yet. And I typically wouldn't even call myself Barbie. That's what was a nickname of mine when I was a kid, but um it's still part of my name, so I thought I'd use it for this channel. There is another Barbara Weist out there, so I didn't go with that. And there's another Barb Weist out there, and that gets confused with a Barb West a lot because I used to break horses, and Barb West is equestrian, deals with equine in different ways. So there's a couple names correlating with mine that I thought, well, I'll just go with my nickname for now. So you're welcome to call me Barb, because like I've gone on a couple channels where I would go with the Barb Least account, and they knew it was me anyway and still called me Barb, and I'm glad because, or Barbara, either way, but Barb's my name, you know. I wonder if God's like, God's my name, don't wear it out. Is that your name? Who would know? Who named God, right? Must have been somebody in the human species that spoke a language. So, anyway, I had watched, Professor Dr. Vachnin had a video that I had shared on Facebook, wasn't able to share it here, of how to tell the difference between a narcissist and a victim. And he's got a whole list of how you can tell the difference. Maybe I'll put that in the description. It's good information to know. It really is, because sometimes we wonder, when we're around people that we've all gone through bad things, but not all of us use those bad things to manipulate other people, or to get what we want, or to cry the poor me's. This is why I'm treating you bad, because I had this horrible stuff happen to me. I heard somebody say that a reason why a wife would cheat is maybe they're not as well to do as somebody else. Well, my opinion is I've shunned people that were going to give me my inheritance because of my integrity. And some days I don't like Doug very much, and he doesn't have a lot of money, but I'm still not going to cheat on him. So the thing is, if a person is going to cheat on a person, that's they're not a loyal type individual anyway. It's just like when I got a divorce before. Well, he got the divorce after I went and got legal separation. That was pretty much a indication that I wanted to be separate. So anything after that I could care less. But when I went to do that, um I didn't cheat on him. I just didn't like him enough to even want to spend any more time with him. So I took the appropriate measures to make that so. It's like my relationship now. I gave Doug a letter of divorcement. That frees him up. He's got this in writing. Anytime he wants to go into the courthouse or an attorney and sign his name on that piece of paper and start divorce proceedings, have at it. So I freed him up to be his individual self and think and do whatever he wants, whether I do or not, because I'm still that loyal person. That's all I'm saying. If a person is going to go outside of their marriage, then it wasn't a marriage to begin with. That's my outlook. Now, other people may look at it, there's no amounts of riches that could make me stray from my loyalty. It's just like my love for God. There's not another religion. There's not another, I wouldn't even call it a religion. There's not a false creator with any amount of money or anything that they can offer or tempt me with that is going to take who I am out of my heart, if you get my meaning. So, and I've been cheated on before. These people wanted to do that. That's who they are or were. You know, that's, you know, two different types of people on this planet. And I will share that video on how to tell the difference between a victim and a narcissist, because you can. Yeah, there's a big difference. Just make sure that you're not victimizing the victim more. and you're not helping the narcissist. So if you're like helping the bad guys punish the victims some more, that wouldn't be a good thing. That'd be kind of like hurting God's children, that's where that falls in right there, because they're they don't deserve that. So just stuff I've been thinking about, and Doug and I had to talk about things today because, there's certain people that carry the Christ spirit. They also carry a lot of satanic energy too, and um it's a part of them that's almost like it's asleep. They don't even know who they quite are yet. Those are the people I've been talking to and communicating with. So one of these days I am going to probably put on some jeans or something and show you what I look like for my older age, getting there. I was like slumped over the other day, but I can stand up straight and I really don't look too bad. I'm fortunate that God has helped keep me strong in my life with all my injuries. Has anybody really, have you overcome some really, really bad injuries or life-threatening things in your life that you know for a fact God helped you overcome them? I know so many things. I have a great list on all the things that I've overcame. That is too, like the tools, even in psychology, spiritual, physical, um, the Trinity inside all ourselves, plus ourselves, that it's kind of a busy spot we live in. But the tools to overcome downfalls in our life that can really help us. That, as far as trying to help somebody else heal in their lives, that is probably yours and my ulterior goal. That's the end goal of even studying any kind of spirituality. I wouldn't call it spirituality. Studying God's will within ourselves and our physical bodies and our mind, and finding the tools to share with other people to help lift them up and overcome things. That's our ultimate goal. Some of us have some very strange ways of doing that, but that is their or our way. But there's never going to be a satanic way until the very end with that energy that people bring onto themselves. But in between then, there won't be a satanic way um, to help lift you up. It may seem harsh, but it's not going to be satanic, if you see what I mean, you know? I've had Satan try to fry my brain out, and then he found out that, well, that's not quite possible because God takes care of me. Now, if he didn't take care of me, I'd be hash browns. Right now, today, I had a pretty bad battle last week in that area. Not personally, but just actually um, with the understanding that I've always said I've never denied God's strength and who helps me, not one day of my life. And that's what people had to realize about me, you know, that I do credit God for everything. I just help him. And I also deserve credit on that note for helping him, not being him, you know. And maybe you feel the same way. It's like when you know you carry the Christ spirit within inside yourself and you're working hard for people that you care about in the world, then you know you carry that. I mean, nobody can tell you don't, you know, or then they surely can't punish you because of that. And and then again, anger towards those that will try and get in the way of your good, that's a real thing, and that's not a shameful thing. Um, Healthy anger, as long as you're not wishing bad upon somebody. If you wish for their good and they don't want to accept that, and you've prayed for that, and you've taken measures to make that come true for them, not yourself, but for them, God knows your heart, you know. So there's no satanic force that can hurt you, even if they try, you know. But yes, narcissists will overplay their sorrows. There's people that have greater sorrows than theirs and haven't had luxuries or good things in their lives like some of these people have had, that when they have like one or two bad things happen to them in their lives, that's the whole thing they play off of. It's like, oh, I had this happen to me. So that's when they start treating you dirty. And then when they treat you dirty, they'll use these bad things and fall into their self-pity. Well, and you can pity them too. I pity people that act like that, but not enough to allow them to act like that. You know, that's where I'm really strong. I don't bargain with the devil like that. It's like, no, no, we don't treat people poorly because of something horrible we went through, you know. But a narcissist will, is what I'm saying. And I think we all probably know people that act like that, you know. Seems to me, for me personally, I know a lot of them like that. Too many. There's a lot of it on this planet. Everybody's running around feeling sorry for themselves. Everybody thinks that they're a target, and you might be a big target, or I might be a big target, but I also realize that other people are too. That satanic force wants to take everybody down, not just you or I, but the whole world. It wants to control, it wants to destroy the whole world and all God's children, not just you or me, but everybody included in that. So that's not the ones that are connected with that energy. That's the innocent people on this planet, you know. What makes a person innocent? realizing that anything that we've done that's stupid, that Satan put us in that position to do these stupid things, that it was him the whole time and God didn't have anything to do with that. That's what innocence is. That's a absolute naivety of what you're doing, whether it's right or wrong, and whether or not you know the difference. See, a narcissist knows the difference. They know somebody else has been hurt worse than them. They don't care. As a matter of fact, they take extra steps to even make it worse for you if it's going to make their life better, you know. So, anyway. So, anyway, I think you will find it interesting. Dr. Bachman has 5 bullet points at the beginning of his video. You don't have to listen to the whole video, the lecture, because he's actually teaching you psychology. So you don't really have to listen to the whole thing to get the points of the video. Within the first 15 minutes, he covers all that pretty clearly, but then he gives you examples and kind of tips and tricks and tools how to spot and remedy and so anyway, I would say I value the whole video. I would watch his videos. I don't know why people wouldn't want to know um the human psyche, um how the studies that have been going on in the world for say real for 120 years, and I don't ever mean to plagiarize somebody's material when I'm talking and I listen to somebody that is giving me ideas or is trying to help me or people in the world. I'm never taking somebody else's work and saying this is my conclusion or what I thought of. This, I believe, is part of God's orchestra, putting people of strong minds and hearts in my life to help me achieve helping you. And that's our connection as the human family, helping each other like that. So, yeah, I'm not ever trying to take somebody else's work and call that my own, you know. So I just don't do that. However, I do have work that I've done that I put out here even 20 years ago. I was online in 1995, and a lot of people, well, I was online in 1970, um, and been around computers really all my life. So, but no, I actually do have work that I have done out here that people have taken as their own, and they will have to atone for their misdeeds. God will get them for me, you know. And I don't wish bad on them. I just wish honesty on them, you know. I love giving credit where credit's due. That's what a good friend and a mom or whoever would do for people. It's like, wow, good job, you know. Just like the other day, Doug was acting rather satanic, and it took me aback because I knew it was going to come one of these days because he had been kind of mild, but I knew it was a facade. All I could do, I stepped back and I applauded him. It's like, wow, you you really got me. Good job. That was flippin' amazing. Well, that kind of took him aback that I would applaud his stupidity, because if somebody's going to do it better than anybody else, you have to give them credit. It's like, that's just flipping astounding. Totally. I was astounded. Oh, yeah. Had to, kudos, dude. If somebody can throw me off, wow. I heard the saying, like, when you're like a upfront type of individual and you bring, it's like basketball, like bringing your A game to a B game situation. That's how I feel about it. It's like, I'm still gonna be bringing my A game, even if we're in a B game situation. So buyer beware, you know. Because as human beings, that's the energy we collect for ourselves. And if we're collecting it off other people, and if you don't know what you're doing when you're collecting that energy, okay, if you actually stifle the word of God in somebody, that's a really grievance thing. But if you're trying to stifle what isn't of God, well, you know whose team they're working on, that type of thing. So yeah, life's been a trip. Tripped me up a few times, but you know, still hasn't changed my love for God, and it never will. There's nothing. These creatures have tried everything to try and make me somebody I'm not, but they don't stop. That's the part that's it's surprising. It'd be like if you're playing a basketball game and you keep playing after the game's already been lost, but you're still out on the court and you're still bouncing, you're still running the ball up and down the court. All the players went home, but you still think you're gonna win, that type of feeling. It's like they just don't quit. Even the cheerleaders came back in to say, hey, the game's over. The bus is ready to take you home. Stop playing. you know. They still don't listen. Anyway. And the people that play with God Himself, and pretend they are God, I'll never understand it, how they think that they came from nothing or are going to nothing, which could be true, that they're going to nothing, or that they made themselves, them things. I don't get it. Like I used the analogy before, because I can make a loaf of bread doesn't make me that loaf of bread, and it doesn't mean that um I'm that material. Everything came from God. I'm fully aware of how I was able to make that loaf of bread, you know? It's like in the beginning, the Word was with God, but did it have to be? Probably not, you know? Or if it was apart and there's a separation, it doesn't mean that the Word won't be with God in the end. You know, that's how I feel about the people of God, where we have a separation because we were put in this flesh from fallen beings that tried to do it better than God because they were lazy and they didn't want to do anything for themselves. They ended up making the Christ spirit within mankind, and then they knew they messed up because their God was in their presence when they tried to keep him out of his own picture, you know? If you know the stories like from like the Anu or the Anunnaki, how it said they were drinking beer and making humans. Well, I look at that logically. I don't look at it, you know, they say like they made one with bad eyesight and the different positions that they'd put, like one that was lame in different ways or mentally lame or whatever. If you think about it, if you're drinking beer and you're fornicating, you're going to have deformed children, you know. So in order for them to have healthy human beings, they had to keep trying to procreate to make those healthy human beings. And none of us on this plane of existence are without um I think the word would be like infirmities or we all have our own diseases or whatever, our own downfalls that are bred into us by the foul way we were made, you know, that our eternal bodies won't have. So, but anyway, drinking beer and making people not a good idea. I think they found that out. And then trying to make God's people as slaves and actually creating God within that whole mess in the flesh that they couldn't control. And that's what they're trying to do with like food and hypnotism and word magic and sigil magic and all their baloney that's adverse from building people up and tears people down. When you're around that type of energy, um, God's energy is stronger, but uh, they do they just don't stop, is what I'm saying. You know, excuse me, allergies again. It's gonna probably be worse in about a month. You might see me with like red eyes because when we get to our fall season with the leaves on the ground and they are all like decaying, and that creates a mold, and a lot of people are allergic to springtime, summertime, and fall. And allergies aren't as bad in the wintertime when everything freezes, but then you have to worry about the air quality in your house being closed up all winter. So, if you are. I usually crack my window no matter what this season. I didn't used to, but it seems I have been lately, so I'll smoke another cigarette and talk to you for a while. So, and then I listened to Israel News Live this morning. He was talking about the Holy Spirit. It was interesting. I would have went a little deeper in on it, but I think he's doing it at a slower pace so people can really get, or he's there. He knows. He's got the Christ Spirit in him most of the time. So. He did stop calling the body of Christ and the church the bride. I've only heard that a couple times now, and he was really leery on how he said it. And there's other ways where it's written in the scriptures and it was changed and it's not appropriate. But they're going to find out. They'll find out in the end that the way things were twisted in order to help the dark cabal control other people on this planet, they're going to understand how much language really played a part in that interference. And then there's people like me that know that interference and the words, in short, and telling it just like it is. I was raised to be somewhat of a satanic protege. And it didn't work out well for them because I had the Spirit of God in me my entire life. And so whatever they'd try and do, I have still so many people that hate me because they didn't and still don't have that control over me. Some people actually ended up admiring me for my strength that comes from God. And all they could do is really laugh about it because they realized that they know they didn't create themselves. And when it comes down to the bottom line, even for these people that are satanic, they have to remember that Satan was cast down here into the flesh by God. And that's something they like to overlook, that like they weren't put in their place by God, you know. I'm going to read you the beginnings of my song. I'm have yet to. I've got the tune in my head, sorta, and the timing of the music. I'm going to read you what I have so far, called Passing Through. Just passing through. Just passing through, God, I do it for you. The friends I gather are few, keeping a smile for those who greet me, knowing your plan is packaged neatly. I appreciate your guidance and I try not to lose faith, but I know that when I have, you put me in my place. Just passing through, God, I do it for you. The friends I gather are few. That's what I have so far. I do believe there's another verse in there and probably a chorus, but that's where I'm at with that. And I think it's going to be 3/4 timing like a waltz. you know. And I'm not sure what genre. I'm thinking pop music. Pop, pop, pop music, you know. Somewhere. I don't know. You'll see it evolve. Um, I get my moods and then I'll write something. And so when I get in another mood like that, and that might not even be the beginning of the song, that's the context of it all. Um, because when we get out of line, God puts us in our place. No, there's times that there's been people try to put me in my place and I was already in it and they were mistaken. But the Spirit of God will go into them just like He does me. And there's some of us that really don't need to be reprimanded by other people because we condemn our hearts daily. If I say something stupid, I already know I said something stupid, and the Spirit of God within me corrects me as I'm going on. So there's a lot of people. Now, if you're out there and you're preaching and you're teaching somebody in an adverse way that's actually going to set them back, well, then you do need to be corrected, you know. But if not, and people are just looking for those faults within you so they feel better, or maybe they actually think they're helping you, oh, that could be a forgivable thing. It depends on what part of God they're carrying and how they go about things, and if it truly is for the betterment of mankind or just for their self, that type of thing. So, yeah. I got the idea of just passing through. I was listening to Archaics. Jason Braziers was doing a book review on a book that somebody had written about the Phoenix phenomenon or something it was called. And I was listening to that. And he was talking about how our souls are just passing through this simulacrum or, ouch, level of existence. My foot is falling asleep. How can I pass through if my foot's asleep? No. But anyway, and he had said those words, and I thought, geez, that sounds like a song. So I started writing it. So, yeah. And I still get a kick out of him calling God the Oversoul. That to me is more Christ's position as the Son of God, being the Oversoul. Because I can't just describe God as a soul. You see what I mean? So, yeah, although the Son and the Father are one, He's a part of, it's like my child is a part of me, but still not me, you know. But they will be my representative on this planet after I'm gone, you know. So, and hopefully some type of protege, hopefully they'll carry the Christ spirit and share that with other people that have that, I hope. Yeah. So I think I'm going to have pizza for supper. I do love it. I used to eat pizza almost like probably 3 times a week. I mean, and other good food. I used to, sometimes I'd have breakfast or lunch as a young mom, but usually not. Depended on how hard I was working too, and what energy I needed, but yeah. So. And then they say not to talk about if you're fasting. Yeah, if you're gonna sit there like, oh, I'm starving to death, like that type of thing. But for me to say, like, I like to fast every day, that's just me telling you this is what I do to stay healthy. That's, not bragging, complaining, or telling you about suffering or anything like that. It's actually just a real thing for me that I've done for a long time in my life, many times, many different times, but these ones that get up there and like almost have to show you how they're starving themselves, and too much of that in a row, like if you're going to do more than a 2 or 3 day fast and you still, I mean, let me say this. So I mean, sometimes I want to offend people, but typically I don't. It's not my usual nature, but people have some really strange ideas about fasting, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I do it. I'll do a big fast if I feel like I do want to commune with God. I will deny my flesh, and I feel closer like that. And it does help. I find for me personally, it helps, you know. So, and I have had, just a minute, I might, ooh, I hope I got it. I have had this stupid fly bugging me all morning. I don't know if I got it. Tried 3 different times. Just likes to sit on my computer. Probably the warmth or the reflection. Not sure. I don't know what more I was going to say about that fasting thing. When I started talking about it, that satanic little fly came to try and bug me. So at least it didn't land on me. Well, that gives me the creeps. One time, and I've only had this happen once in my life, because I know that flies hatch from maggots, from larvae, but I had a fly land on me and it left a baby fly on me. Like I say, I've only had this happen once, and it was like last year or the year before. It was the weirdest thing. Never had that. Must have been on its leg, or I don't know. It was really odd. Have you ever had that happen? I never had before. Hope it never happens again. It's like, oh, I just came to visit you and I just brought my offspring to leave on you and then take off. Weird. Because usually after flies hatch, they're like relatively the same size as the original fly. And it was small, just like a regular fly. It wasn't a fruit fly. It was just a regular fly. Looked just like it, only small. Never seen anything like that before. Yeah, that was strange. I think I told you a few days ago I got bit by a spider. It could have been a black widow. We've got them here. Um, but I do have on my leg, I do have some flesh that is actually almost like dead from where the bite was, and it itches like crazy. Um, I might have to surgically remove it. I did with a brown recluse. They'll kill you. Um, I had to take a spot about, well, about that big around and maybe about that deep into my flesh and take it out before the poison spread to the rest of my body. And I could feel myself dying from it. I was up on a mountain, no vehicle, and in this cabin from a place where I was working. And oh, it's a trip. Oh, that hurt. No anesthesia, although, well, I can't say no. I had a what they call a Mickey or a half pint of Canadian Windsor. It's a blended whiskey. And I took a couple shots, but I didn't want to have too much because I had to do surgery on myself. Then I stayed up and I had to find that bug because, and I did, because it would come out at night. But I had children and I didn't want them to get bit, because if their little bodies had gotten bit by that brown recluse, they might have died because it does eat away at your flesh. So, yeah, I've done some surgeries on myself in my life several times. So, yeah. So when I say physician heal thyself, I'm not just telling you that. I'm actually somebody that has done that. Praying the whole time or crying. Can't remember. I'm sure I cried. That hurt so bad. It was right here. It hurt so bad. It's like that sucker bit me right in my heart. And when I was 15, I have 3 little tattoos. I have a heart tattoo, and it's a broken heart now. Part of it faded away, and it's not whole. It looks like injured. It's injured where it's injured, you know. So good thing God's in there holding me together. So anyway, and I have one on each knee. Was letters of somebody I loved. So anyway, and they look like something altogether different now with my skin changing, but the heart doesn't. It still looks like a broken heart, you know. Speak of broken, I actually had my sternum broken too. I got punched so hard I had a black spot. Not just black and blue, but actually dead flesh from getting hit so hard. It busted my bones. You can see when I wear something a little lower, you can see the actual scar from where I got smacked. That's a trip. So, yeah. Anyway, enough of my injuries. How are you doing? I know my Russian friends were, yesterday was their Sunday, and they were digging potatoes. Well, that's hard work, my friends. I know. That's some back-breaking work right there. The people that eat potatoes, if you've never harvested or planted and harvested potatoes before, it's not as easy as it looks, especially by hand. But, Oh, I lived by a potato farm when I was a kid. Well, not a small kid, teenager. And asked the farmer if I could go up after he harvested his field. And I got some like giant red potatoes out of this field. I would take my wagon up there with 5-gallon pails and fill them up for my mom and bring her home all the potatoes we wanted for the whole winter, and that was cool. And he was nice enough. He's like, yeah, if they're there, you can have them. They're just going to go back into the ground. Well, he didn't have to do that because he sold them for a living. So to let me bring those home to my parents, that was a really nice thing to do, wasn't it? And then he'd let me ride my horse on his land too. And I had access to a lot of land I could ride on, just besides our 10 acres that we had. Was connected to hundreds of more from different neighbors and farms that I could just go and ride for days, actually, and never cover the same ground, you know? I got in some spooky situations with my horse when I was a teenager sometimes. Those are a bunch of other stories. But I started writing when I was 4, I think was the first time, maybe earlier. But then I started working at riding stables, and I would clean the stables in order to ride for free. Or if I had other jobs, and then I'd like even take a friend with me and we'd go riding. Or before I got my own horse, I would go to riding stable and ride. You can do that. There's places almost in every state, I'd say, that you can go ride horses. It's like if I had people around me that enjoyed the same type of thing. Like, for instance, Doug has never been on a sleigh ride in the middle of winter. That's so fun. There's places that will have sleigh rides and sing um jingle bells or whatever, and drink cocoa or coffee or whatever. And they'll have like a buck wagon and or sleigh and with bales of hay you sit on and like moving blankets or whatever to keep you warm, and it's just fun, a lot of fun. I enjoy stuff like that, but excuse me. I was going to do that with I had put a bid on, well, 2 different horses this one year, long time ago. But I was going to name this one she was part miniature horse and part quarter horse. So she was like approximately 9 hands tall, not real tall, kind of like, not a mini horse, but bigger. Not as little as a Shetland, but bigger. And not as big as a Welsh, but just a little bit smaller. So I was gonna call her Susie. So I was gonna get this Susie and build a sleigh and make a trail just for myself to, in the winter, be able to get out and go on a sleigh ride down by our creek and back around and on the hills and whatever. But this guy couldn't have his way with me personally and didn't sell me the horse. I didn't wish good luck on the dude for a long time because he was married with a pregnant wife and other children. So when I get stuck in these situations with men like that, I'm really not too pleased about it, and I have a tendency to think bad thoughts. Well, I've curbed that in my life, but it's not easy when you have somebody to really trash you in your life in different ways like that. It's not nice, you know. I ran across that so much in my life. I used to retaliate like, uh, anyway. See, the thing is, too, he had a horse that was acting up. It was the one that his wife would ride, and I was going to break it of its bad habit. But instead, I actually took the time and gave him my valuable information, my knowledge of that animal and the way they act and how to remedy that without charging them a thing. So I actually helped them with their animal, and I still got burnt, just people anyway. But that's what I was going to do, is make a little sleigh and have my jingle bells. Really, I was going to put jingle bells on it, you know, either on the horse or the sleigh. That would have been cool. I just wanted Doug to get involved on knowing what it's like to be around a horse and to have to care for that animal every day, just like a child. A lot of people will take these things for granted and they'll think, oh, yeah, there's a horse. But yes, when it's 50 below zero and that horse needs to eat before you do, or you have to check their water before you worry about yourself in the morning, or you put your coffee on, go take care of your animal or whatever, or get up early and have your coffee. But all these things have to be considered, and you really can't take a break from those animals. You have to care for them every day or find somebody else to care for them. And then the animals are mad at you because you're the one who got these animals. So why would they want somebody else taking care of them? It's just, I don't know. When I see animals just cooped up, and that's their whole life. They're cooped up. There they stand. Oh, that's sickening to me. Or animals that are in stables and corrals their whole life with no land to run on, and it's like, how much more cruel. Or people that get a dog and stick it in a kennel. How much more cruel could a person be? How much more thoughtless could they be? You know? And all animals cry, all of them. And then they wonder if they have souls. People wonder, do animals have souls? Most likely, people that are kind of soulless would probably think animals don't have souls. That's my outlook on it. So, well, I think I'm going to get this uploaded. I don't know what the point of this video is, only to share Professor Wagner's difference. How can you tell the difference between a narcissist and a victim? You can tell. We all can. So I'm going to share that so you'll know, and then it won't leave any doubt in your mind, because we all have sorrows and physical things, that anomalies or whatever that we have to deal with. So these narcissists are not alone in that, but it's always, theirs is much worse than anybody else's. That's a key thing too. Like, you could have the same cut on your finger as the narcissist has, identical, but their cut would be worse for some odd reason. So All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.